Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Sugar Mama's Fireplay. I am your host, financial planner Hannah Campbell, and today we're talking about the power of manifestation. In fact, manifesting money. As you guys know, I'm a financial planner, but I'm also a financial planner that really believes in the energy of money, creating, building, and attracting your own luck, as well as obviously good old-fashioned hard work. Now, today's episode, we're actually interviewing Erin, who is actually someone who did my money mindset manifestation program, and she's never done manifestation work before. So this was very, very new to her. And I have to say, she is a star student. Her results have been absolutely mind-blowing, and I have to say, incredibly inspiring. In fact, she's had a very positive impact on myself, on my own financial goal journey, and discovering and learning and tweaking and improving my own money mindset manifestation goals. Now, as a little warning, a big warning, this episode is actually being recorded at home on a Wednesday evening. I would normally record all of my episodes at Nova's head office in their beautiful, luxurious podcasting studios, but our schedules today just didn't quite align, and this is the best place for us to be able to record this episode. So if you can hear my kids screaming in the background, or more likely Tom screaming at my kids in the background, please know they are safe. They're perfectly fine. They're just pushing back and trying to stretch out bedtime, as does every single child. As I say that, there is one child screaming quite loudly. So just keeping it very real. Erin, thank you so much for coming on to today's episode. How have you been?
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to share everything that's been happening over the last 9 months. And when you talk about manifesting, and now I'm such a big fan of manifesting, I have to tell everyone that when I first heard about people manifesting and manifesting things into their life and all these sorts of things, I thought, oh, here we go. It's people sitting around in a circle, cross-legged, holding hands, really wishing really hard for things,
Hugging, kumbaya,
yeah, all that sort of stuff.
And your eyes on
Stuff. And it wasn't until I came across your Instagram page and you were talking about your new program. So this was just as it sort of came out and you were talking about it. And I thought, oh, I'll have a look, because you're quite well respected in the community. So I thought, oh, well, if Hannah's talking about manifesting, maybe there's some sort of some truth to it. So this would have been, I reckon, back in December last year, November or December last year, when I started following you on Instagram, because I had moved into my first ever home in July last year, and I had been so overly consumed with having my own house and building this house, my first home, and I wanted it to be perfect, and I put so much energy into it that by the time I got into the home, I realized that I hadn't really been focusing on anything else in my life, and the house wasn't in a place where I wanted to be living in, and things weren't perfect, and I was just feeling a little bit lost, and I was like, I don't really know, what it is that I want, that I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grow up, sort of thing. But I just sort of didn't have any direction after 4 or 5 months of living in that house. So when I came across your program, I was like, you know what, I'll try something different, because I've tried a whole bunch of different things before, but I hadn't tried something like your program. So I went back and had a look at the dates. And that was on the 10th of December last year that I signed up to your course originally. And then a week later, I went out and bought your book. So the Money Mindset book, that one?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was on the 23rd of December. So that's 2 weeks after doing the starting the course. I sent you my first email about all the money that I had manifested, because it was a 21-day challenge, a 21-day fun financial challenge, right?
Yes.
Yes. And I had, within that 2 weeks, I had saved $3,000 on negotiating with different concreters on the patio I was having laid down, where normally I would have just taken the first one or two yeses, but this time I really wanted to make my money work hard for me. I used points to buy Christmas presents, so I saved myself $250
Nice.
doing that. And normally I wouldn't do those sorts of things. I was interviewed for a promotion, and there was a whole bunch of different things that was sort of happening right after I was doing your program. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll start the vision board. So that's when I really started thinking about, if I was to wave that magic wand, what would I really want to have change in my life, or what would I want to have like really come into my life that I hadn't been able to do before?
It's
So
such
then,
an empowering question, that question. Like, if I could wave a magic wand for you, what would you create? And there's no limit, there's no rules, there's no boundary. And it really does allow you to see where your heart really does call you to that question, I find.
it did, because every time I would start to think of a goal, I'd go, well, hang on, that's a bit far-fetched. Like, oh, no, hang on, it's the magic wand. I can dream whatever I want.
Exactly. It helps you just almost, even if you're just entertaining yourself for a split second, it allows you to just pack away for a split second any self-limiting beliefs and just dare to dream. Because it's almost like you give yourself to fantasize for a second. But that's the beauty of it. You get to step into a world that you would never dare even dream of, with those silly limitations we sometimes find ourselves falling victim to. Just going back for a second, when you found yourself in your home just going, okay, this is nice, but this isn't quite great, it's not right. What did that feel like? Did you like, something's better for me out there, or something doesn't feel right? Like, what did that feeling of that, maybe feeling stuck? I don't know. What was going on for you to realize, okay, this isn't 100% right?
Yeah, I think stuff is a really good word, because I had focused so hard on getting into that home, because I'm a lender by trade, and my job as a lender by trade. And I was like, how can I be a lender without a house? That's just not so summer. And it took years to get into this property. So I originally went on waiting lists on the Gold Coast for 2 years to try to get a block of land, and the competition was so strong, you're just getting constantly outbid. And then COVID happened, and LVR restrictions came in that were tougher from banks. And then there was waiting lists again for land. So it took 5 years to get a block of land, and then to be able to build the house on it. So I'd put so much energy, and so much was building up to it, that when I moved in, I thought, I haven't focused on any other areas of my life other than this. And I had told myself that, once the house comes, then everything else will sort of flow on after that. But I hadn't thought about what any of that looked like.
Yeah.
I'd been in the house for that 5 months, and I was feeling stuck. I was like, well, this is all I had sort of been thinking about, and I don't know what else to do now.
It's almost like you got sort of almost too much tunnel vision. Like, tunnel vision is great when you're really going to hone in on something that's really important. You've got like a certain period of time that you need to accomplish something by. It's great. It can be very powerful, but sometimes it can also be dangerous, because you can lose perspective and you lose your sense of a healthy balance. And, you just become fixated on achieving it rather than thinking about what are you actually trying to achieve, which is, an overall sense of happiness and accomplishment, and, achieving the details of your dream. Gosh. So, all right. So that didn't feel right. And then you decided to have a go at the, 21-day challenge. And then, you enrolled it into the course. Where to from there?
So then during December, we had that really crazy weather up here in Queensland. It was almost like a tornado that came through and caused all sorts of chaos. And that's where I was. I was caught up in all of that. So we had no power on Christmas Eve, which was so bizarre. And then Christmas Day, it was the same. So I picked up your money mindset book, and I said to myself, if I was really going to make these changes, I really need to get into it, right? So then I read your book from cover to cover in 2 days.
This is the work with the company.
This is the workbook, and also your book, the money mindset. Is that it?
Oh, Mindful Money.
mindful money. God, I kept getting it wrong. Yes, mindful money. So yes, I read that from cover to cover in 2 days because it was pouring rain and I couldn't do anything. I thought, well, if I am going to commit to doing this, let's make my time count. Let's make this time count for something. So then I was like, okay, let's hit some real goals. So then I put up on the vision board. So this is the one that you can create online. So you go and have a look at cut pictures from Pinterest and all that sort of stuff and start putting things together. So it was to buy my forever home. So where I thought I was going to be most at peace, which is on property, so on acreage. I wanted to run 3 marathons. I wanted to, one of them being in New Zealand, and then one being the authentic marathon in Greece, which is like the original marathon that was ever, the first one that was ever first run. I wanted to continue my path to financial freedom by creating my perfect share portfolio. I wanted to start eating healthier, and I changed the words of all of these because I had things down like I'll lose weight and like negative statements instead of empowering statements. So I've reworded a lot of these.
Which is one of the big things I talk about, because so many people go wrong with their manifestation work at the very beginning where they do their goals. And this is why I say it's got to be written in the present tense and it's got to be positive. So not I will lose weight, I am losing weight. I am building my, diversified passive income stream. I am investing in shares right now. Like it's all about the positive things that you're doing and the fact that you're doing it right now. And even if you're not actually physically buying shares, you might be actually doing the research in preparation to buy those shares, or you might be in the process of opening up that online share trading account. You are in the moment doing it, and that is key, because so many people focus on what they don't want, and then of course we become what we think about. So then they attract all the things that they don't want. So I'm so glad you picked up that list.
Yeah, reworded all of
them. And that's one of the things I do with so many people in the program is say, send me your goals so I can check them for you. And there's goals are confidential. There's no judgment at all. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, I have to write back and say, okay, I'm rewriting these for you, and I want you to let me know what you think of what I've done to your goals. And it's almost like a complete shakeout, but it's a great shakeout in that it's a refresh almost, because you're like, oh wow, suddenly it creates so much more clarity, and you get this sense like, oh wow, I've been doing it wrong all this time. It's quite, because I think we had a call, didn't we? And we went through your goals together and discussed this.
We did, because I had things down like I'm going to start creating a share portfolio. I'm going to start eating healthier. I'm going to lose weight. And you said to me, have you sort of looked into share trading and all that sort of stuff? I'm like, yeah, like I'm studying a master's of finance. And you go, well, continue my path to financial freedom by creating a share portfolio. I'm eating healthier and I'm feeling better in my own skin now. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's just one of the most important things I think so many people miss. Okay, so you have some massive goals there.
Right.
That's a big 2024 listening to this at the beginning.
Well, I haven't even finished yet. So.
I'm going to squeeze all of this in. Like, I was a bit nervous thinking, okay, all right, there's a long list here. Like, and I do say to people, try not to have more than 5 goals, like, because don't overload yourself. But no, obviously you knew your limits. So then what happened from writing those goals down? Rewriting those goals, did that change your mindset as well?
It did, yeah. So it really did. I felt proud of myself already, which was a strange feeling, because when you normally set yourself a goal, you're like, okay, once I've hit that goal, I'll be proud of myself. When you reword it to something that's in the moment, you instantly become proud of yourself. 1, for setting the goal, but 2, for if you're talking about like you're already doing it, then you're like, I'm already doing it. Like continue my path to financial freedom. I'm like, oh, I'm already doing the research. I'm already getting my share trading account together. I'm already doing all these sorts of things already. So I'm doing it.
It builds a lot of faith and confidence, which I think is so important and something that's hard to find these days. And there's also, a lot of science now around this, because they're realizing that the dopamine hit isn't actually coming from achieving something. It's in the anticipation of achieving something, which is why I think, wording your goals in a way that's in a positive way, but in that present moment is essential, because there is your dopamine hit. And we all know that with the dopamine hits, we'll stick to it, we'll remain committed, we're dedicated to the journey, and we'll keep going. And that's obviously then it's only going to eventuate in some type of level of success or result that we've been chasing. So, not only is this, kumbaya tree hugging stuff, it's also some neuroscience behind us as well.
That's right. That's right. So what I didn't realize about manifestation work was the work behind it. I just thought you clicked your heel 3 times and everything's what happened. Because you did tell me to set my 5 goals, but then I ended up doing those 5, and then I had graduate the Master of Finance in July this year, so that I could start my own business as well, and then manifest my dream partner. So I kind of went overboard. So then what happened was I started to make some mistakes, and the mistakes that I was making was I was trying to, because I almost felt like I had superpowers by this stage, I tried to manifest everything simultaneously. So I was spreading myself so thin. I was like, okay, so I'll put $20 towards the share trading. I'll put, $50 towards my first marathon in New Zealand. I'll do this. I'll do some work to the house. I'll do this. I'll do that. So I was sort of spreading myself out too thin. So by the time I got to my needing to buy the tickets for the first marathon, I had manifested the money, because we did another 21-day fun financial challenge in January. And during that challenge, I manifested the flights as well as the accommodation for New Zealand by selling things around the house that I hadn't used for 6+ months. And I mean, I had a dress in my wardrobe that I remember buying to go to a ball when I was 21. I've worn it once and I had never worn it again. I'm now 35. I don't need it. Okay. So, it was all those sorts of things. So I got rid of all, some things out of my life that I wasn't using, and manifested $3,000 for flights and accommodation in New Zealand. So that was done. And I was training for the marathon in New Zealand. Then once I had all that booked, I started thinking about the house. So I was like, if I'm going to buy my forever home this year, I need to get a real estate agent around to find out what I can sell my house for, if I need to do anything to the house to get, the maximum from it, all those sorts of things. So I did that. I had some agents come around and they gave me some pointers of what to do. So to finish laying the turf out the back, finish painting, do some repairs to fence work and all of those sorts of things. So I thought, well, to save money and to learn some things myself, I'll YouTube how to do all these things. So then I took all of that on board as well. So then I was training for the marathon, doing stuff for the share portfolio, renovating the house, studying uni, and working full time.
Oh my gosh. Like, talk about burnout.
So then it comes to our conversation that you and I had in April, because by April, the house was then on the market, and properties were had an average time on the market from start to finish, so from being available in the market to settlement, of 30 days. I couldn't even get anyone around to an open home. And this was a brand new property, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 3 living areas, a huge backyard in a sought after estate. Houses were going. And there was not even a person showing up to the open home.
I mean, it was like a block. It was like obviously not a coast, but it was like this block. And I always say there's something behind something. There's a reason. It's a blessing in disguise, but there's something when these weird things happen that don't make sense. We haven't discovered what it is yet, but there's something very, very powerful behind it. And we had this conversation about that. And I sort of was using a lot of my gut feel was trying to tell me, and we were sort of trying to break it down together as to what in the hell was going on, because it just didn't make sense.
It just didn't make sense. So what you said to me was like, look, just focus on my my affirmations. So I had written affirmations about selling the property. So he said, focus on, saying my affirmations out loud and truly believing it. But I had the marathon coming up within like the 2 weeks. And he said, you've really got to put your energy into that, because that goal is happening, and it's happening right now. You really need to appreciate that, show gratitude for it, be in the moment for it. You've worked really hard for it, be in the moment. So while I'm over in New Zealand, I'd finished running the marathon. I was the day afterwards. The real estate agent sent me a message, and she goes, "Look, we've done another open home. I'd given them the keys and all that sort of stuff." And she said we had no one show up except for this one random guy at the end, and he was literally said, "Oh, I don't really know if this is what I want. It's a nice house, but I don't really know if that's what I want." And then he sort of left. She goes, "So he's definitely not going to be your buyer." I'm like, "Okay, all right." And she goes, "But look, we'll talk when you come back," because by the time I got back from New Zealand, their 3 months was going to be due, and it was going to come to the end of their sort of contract. And I think I'd put so much pressure on myself to have this property sell because the rest of my goals for the year was reliant on it.
Mm.
So I was always putting, this has to work. It has to work. It has to go for, for this amount of, yeah. So I put pressure on myself. I put pressure on the agent, and I sort of put all the pressure on the agent to make it, like, you make it happen. And I sort of stepped away from it to make sort of, pass over the responsibility of making this happen. And then when you and I spoke, and he said, when you come back from New Zealand, just make sure you take a step back and remember the reasons why. Why are you selling the property? What is it going to manifest in your life? Why are you wanting to manifest those goals in your life? And just really take a step back and appreciate everything that's sort of gone on. Anyway, so I did that. When I came back from New Zealand, I spoke with a couple of agents and I said, look, it's coming up to the 3 months. I'm just going to take a break. I'm going to take it off the market and then, put it on the market fresh. The day the 3 months was up with the real estate agent, I get a phone call and she goes, "So do you remember when you were in New Zealand?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "And that random guy that came through the open home, like right at the end, and said he wasn't really sure if that was the house that he wanted and all that sort of stuff." And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well, he's offered $920 for it and he can go, he's pre-approved, he's got the cash ready to go. And it was 20,000 above what we thought we were going to get for it."
Wow.
I said, "Are you kidding?" And she goes, "I'm as stumped as you are, don't worry."
Wow.
So I'm like, "Okay, well, let's do this." But then, so I've said that, I said, "Let's do this and we'll put an 8-week settlement on it." But in the meantime, because my property had been on the market for such a long time, 3 months, I mean, it's not a really long time, but, in the scheme of things, when you're trying to organise stuff, that the houses that I had found that I wanted to buy had already sold. So they had all sold. So I used AI, I used ChatGTP, and I go, right, let's get a place. I need a suburb. I can't just keep going into realestate.com, putting in regions. I need a suburb that I need to focus on. So I put into ChatGTP, I need cheap acreage within an hour's drive to the Brisbane airport. Where can I buy? And he goes, "Oh, Somerset region." I said, "Somerset region? I've never even heard of this place." So anyway, so I put that into realestate.com, and then all these suburbs started popping up, and I found this one suburb that I just instantly fell in love with. And I'm like, okay, right, I'm going to start looking at houses here. So I called a few of the agents and they said, "Look, all these ones have sold. They've literally just sold." She goes, "It's such a sought after area." And she goes, "But we do have properties coming up on the market over the next couple of weeks." And I said, "Well, I settle in 8.
I'm a like,
so I sort of need something. So then one of their agents randomly called me on a Saturday afternoon. I just had done a trip to the tip. I always going to say that wrong. After, cleaning up my house, getting ready for the sale. And it was just a random call. And she goes, "Look, I know you're looking for a place here." And she said, "It's not actually on the market." I'm like, "Oh, here we go." And she goes, "But he doesn't want sort of random people coming through. He's wanting to sell it because he's had to move away for family." And she said, "But he really wants someone who's going to look after the property. And we know how much you want to move out here. So do you want to come out and have a look at it on Tuesday?" So this was Saturday. And I said, "Yeah, that'd be fantastic." By this time I had 6 weeks left. So anyway, so I go out and have a look at it, and let me tell you, I had put some of the most ridiculous things to find in my forever home, which was to feel like nobody else was around me. I wanted it to be at least 5 acres. I wanted it to be half of what I sold my property for because I wanted to halve my mortgage because the payments, on one salary was, just killing, So I had all these things and I get out here and it's 10 acres. You cannot see. So the neighbour on one side is down a little bit of a hill, so you can't see that they're there.
Wow.
I then have a bit of a dip in my property and the other neighbour it's all bushland on my side. So you can't see that they're there. And then it goes half a k's back. So you can't see anyone at the back either. I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. And I'm like, hang on, how far is it to the airport? So I popped it into the airport and it was an hour and 20 minutes. Oh, wow. I'm like, I cannot believe it. And I said, okay, how much is he asking for? And she said 500.
Oh my goodness.
That's everything that I put on my affirmations on my vision board is what the property was. So that's why I had to wait. That's why the universe was sort of going, no, he's not ready yet. He's not ready yet.
Exactly. There's something behind this. The universe has a bigger, better plan for you, and here it is. And you had never done any of this type of work before previously, had you?
Zero, absolute zero. Because I have, you can't see behind me, but I have a library of books. I love reading. So I do a lot of self-empowerment reading in the morning, like for leadership and mindset and growth and all of that sort of stuff. And I thought that was the way to sort of achieve goals, which is, it's great for enhancing, I don't know if personality is the right word, but it's a great way for enhancing skills with communication and, building relationships with people and all those sorts of things. But when it comes to some of those books can be can teach you how to be external, so how to enhance your external skills and your people skills. But manifesting is literally all about you. You do not think about anybody else other than yourself and what do you want most out of life and what do you want to create out of life. And it's a really hard thing to do when you are a lot of the time so focused on others.
Yes, absolutely.
Sort of take that.
It's an internal job, manifestation work. It's about working through some uncomfortable things at times, and it never stops. You're constantly discovering new blocks or new limiting beliefs and deeply seated ones, and working through them. And just when you think you've cleared it, out pops another one. It's never ending. But it is for me. It's my most powerful source of growth, and my most powerful source of resilience, I'd say, as well, in helping deal with all the external stuff that goes on in our world. It serves so many different purposes, and beyond obviously manifesting wonderful things in our lives. So the one question I have to ask you though is, and it's funny, I feel like you and I, because we have these group monthly Zoom sessions with everyone in the program, and they're always recorded for the other members who can't watch it live. But often I share what I'm going through, or what blocks I've discovered, or what lessons I've learned, or what messages or wisdom I'm gaining. And when I feel that whenever someone steps up and shares something, it almost breaks or cracks the block or what is holding someone else back. And I've had certain blocks or things going, why is this happening? I'm working so hard, I'm trying so hard, it's just not happening. And then you've shared on the group something that happened to you, and that's then been a catalyst to then shatter. Then that's something that the block that was for me or for someone else in the group. And that's why I just love this program. Is once you're in it, that's it. You're part of it, and you can tune in and contribute if you want, or you can just sit on the sidelines and listen and watch. But it is, the energy of it is quite powerful, and that you're not just working on your goal on your own and your manifestation work on your own. Everyone else is working with you and for you, and as a very, very powerful community that just magnifies in power, which is just, I can't even use the right words to explain what it feels like. But it literally, after I get off, out of those Zoom calls, weird things happen, and hearing someone else's stories is the birth of the shift that I needed. And so it's that ability to talk about this stuff. And I've been doing this for years and years, ever since I was a little girl, but I never spoke about because I was really embarrassed. And I thought it was like weird that the way I would think and the way I would, use my mindset and imagine things and visualize things and, journal and scribble and doodle my dreams. And only in the last couple of years, I've actually really started to feel comfortable letting my guard down and talking about it, because when you can find a community of people that are learning just like, and I'm not an expert at it, I never say I am. I'm just someone who's on the path, eager and motivated to learn more and fine-tune my skills and share with everyone else what I'm learning and the mistakes I'm making so that others don't make the same. I've completely forgotten about what I was going to ask you, but I guess what I really wanted to lead into was, the surrendering. We had this conversation. I think we're both going through a similar block. And I always say don't have too many goals going at the same time, because obviously you don't want to spread yourself too thinly, but you had to almost like surrender to that goal of the home whilst focusing on, the marathon. Was that very hard for you to do? And was that scary because you are someone who's very much about what's going on in the external world?
Yes. And to say it was scary because I had set the rest of my goals dependent on that house selling for a certain price. And then when nothing was happening, like there was times like that I was, because I'm in the real estate business, people would have 15, 20 people showing up to the open homes, and these people were having like 30 people show up to the open homes, and I would have one or none. And I was like, what have I done? I've done something. I've put so much hope on this and energy on this. I'm going to end up becoming depressed.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out. And we were talking about, surrendering to what's going on so I could take a breath, I was like, okay, it is only April, and I had given my goals, my goals were set to the 1st of December. And it's interesting that as you go through time, you do have to keep reminding yourself it is only, it's still only September. There's still, 2.5 months for me to manifest, the other goals that are happening. So I was like, okay, it is only April. Let's just take a break. And then when I started reading out those affirmations every morning about what this property meant to me and what I was truly looking for, I was putting things up like I'm looking for peace. Like I'm finding peace. And coming out to acreage in the middle of nowhere, we hear rainforest birds first thing in the morning instead of, ambulances and all that sort of stuff. All those sorts of things. It's just incredible. But yeah, the surrender part and trusting the universe, because you want to a point, and then you're like, I'm just gonna check in on you to make sure, universe, that you're doing what I asked you to.
Yeah, I know.
It's really hard to sort of let go. Yeah.
It like the feeling is, it's agitation for me, because I'm doing the visualization, I have my vision board, I have my affirmations, I get up in the morning. The first thing I do in the morning when my alarm goes off at 5 is I close my eyes, I breathe into my goals, and I watch myself in the third person and in the first person, so then having to just go, all right, well, maybe this isn't meant for me, or maybe I just need to just hand over my faith and trust in the universe. But, and now someone with major trust issues, but you kind of get to that point where it's so agitated, you have no other choice.
That's right.
To go, all right, I'm sick to death of trying so hard and making this goal happen. I am getting pissed off, angry, and which is, an absolute repellent of success, because I always use that analogy of a butterfly. If you want a butterfly to land on, you can't go aggressively chasing it, you'll frighten it away. But if you learn to sit and be calm and to create the energy of a relaxation and tranquility and harmony, that butterfly is more likely to fly around you and then hopefully land on you. It was it was, for me, it was very hard to sort of, with some of my goals, to really just go, all right, there's obviously something better behind this. Here you go. I'm handing over. Show me what you've got. But in that moment, it's quite bizarre how the universe goes, finally, you're listening. All right, now we can do our thing for you, show you actually what's better for you here. But it is hard to do. It's easier said than done. So you've pretty much achieved 90% of your goal.
Yeah, so now I wrote a little summary for you. So I now have a share portfolio valued at 8,800. I know it's not a lot, right? But to me, I had nothing at the start of the year, zero zip, none, zero balance.
Don't even say that's not much. It is a lot. It is a lot. And if you think about from going, as you said, from zero to that in such a short period of time, and also you've got to remember, and this is why I like the idea of you not having too many goals, is once you've ticked one goal off, you now have an additional, say you've got 5 goals and you tick one off, you've now got an additional 20% energy being freed up that you can then channel into the remaining 4 goals. So, look at what you've achieved now, and you know how many goals you've ticked off your list. You can now put so much energy into that share portfolio. Plus, you have a smaller mortgage.
It's incredible. And I've got, 13,000 in my emergency savings account. The tickets for Greece and the accommodation is all paid for with cash, nothing on credit cards. When I tried to book in the marathon for Greece, it was sold out online. So I'm like, oh no. So I wrote a letter. I found every email in Greek, by the way. I had to get everything translated. I found every email I possibly could for organisers to send them a letter to talk about how important it was for me to do the marathon in Greece this year. And I got a response saying it was so beautiful at saying that, we've heard you and we'd love to extend a late entry to you. But it's the most bizarre thing within 2 days. And then they go, but you will need to pay is it euros over there? I don't know the currency.
Yep.
I'll have to pay 5. Yeah, €5. I'll have to pay €5 as a penalty fee because they have to manually print everything out. I'm like, done. I will pay the $5 penalty. So that is all locked and loaded. I then have 5,000 in a term deposit as like my little buffer there. And then the rest of the cash I put in from the sale, I put into my company to get that business off the ground. So 2 weeks after the property settled and I moved into this one, because it happens simultaneously, there's simultaneous mortgage, my mortgage reduced down from a balance of $750 down to $450. And then 2 weeks after that, I resigned and started my own business.
Okay, can we just talk about that for a second? That's a massive goal, which should have potentially been the number one and only goal for the year. I mean, you've achieved so much, but to throw that in the mix as well is, so there's a bit of, I guess, manifestation magic behind that as well. Can you just, I know we're probably running out of time, but if you can quickly share with everyone, the story behind that, because that was quite freaky as well. You had 3 different options, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so at the start of the year, so this would have been about February, March, I think it was, because I had put starting my own business on as a goal, and I had to write the reasons why that was important to me. And the reason why I wanted to start my own business was it wasn't because I don't enjoy what I was previously doing as employment. I love that. I've been doing it for 2 decades now. But it was I wanted to be able to work from anywhere in the world at any time. And I wanted the freedom to be able to provide my clients with the best options that I knew that I could, not the best options, who I was working for at the time. And I'd listed all these things. After I'd listed all the reasons why I wanted to start my own finance company, I received 3 calls within a week of job offers. So I had 2 promotions, a promotion within my own company. And then I had 2 external job offers. One was going to be paying something like $250,000, and another one had said it was commission only, but the commissions, because it was commercial dwellings, was between $500 to $1 million per year. And I remember looking at these 3 options because I've been doing it for 20 years and I'm 35, right? So if I was going to make a change, 35 is a great time to do it because I've got the same sort of time working in front of me that I have behind me,
Yeah.
And I said to you, I don't know what I think the subject in the email to you was I manifested too hard. All these things.
Actually, I remember that. Yes, exactly. I do remember that.
Yes. So when we were talking about it, and you said to me, you just have to stay true to yourself. So stay true to the reasons why you wanted to make all these changes with starting your own business. And when I took apart the roles that were being offered for me, so one, I've showed gratitude for the universe showing me my value. Because I think for so long I've got to ask permission to get a pay rise, I've got to ask for this, I've got to ask for that. So you're very external when it comes to, I need to, show or ask someone for my value.
Yeah. Demonstrate
And then,
my value all the time.
yeah,
So I'm worthy of it. And yeah,
I've got to constantly show that I'm worthy. Justify, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. So justify my worthiness. Where the universe was going, you've already got the skills and the education and the talent. Because I did graduate the Master of Finance in July, as well. So that's all done. So it was almost like the universe was saying to me, look, you do have the value. This is your true value. So then I showed gratitude for it, and I dissected the roles, and I realized it wasn't really what I wanted to do with each of those roles. And if I was going to choose one of them, it would purely just be for the financial benefit for that role. And I decided that I wasn't going to keep making decisions based on purely the financial benefit, because that's what blocked me with the house.
Yeah.
I had to break it down to the reasons why I wanted to do this. So once I said no to all three of those, but in such a way that I, again, was showing gratitude for the offer of the, being interviewed in the conversations and all of those sorts of things, those conversations then opened up so many other doors to other connections to external businesses. So it was insane. Then I was having my own personal broker. So I know how much you love yours as well, and mine is is the same. They're just fantastic people to chat to sometimes.
Yeah. Great mortgage broker. Find them. They never let them go.
Yeah. That's it. So then he was having conversations with me, and he goes, why don't you just come and work for me, and all these sorts of things. And then I was realizing, right, Erin, you don't have to be so focused on the job or the role or the title. The thing that you want to do, it's available for you to do once you've manifested all these other goals that are going to give you stability. So for me, a house, one of the reasons why I wanted my forever home was stability, because I have moved 23 times and I'm 35. So a lot of it was when I was a kid, but then as an adult renting it, the house sold to a person who was moving into it and you had to get out and all that sort of stuff. So to me, this was a huge stability thing, right? So once I had got my stability, then I was like, I can take the risk, which I know sounds bizarre, but to me, I could that.
Sometimes people you need to sort of sit down some roots first to then have that confidence to be able to then be fussy about something or to say, okay, all right, I've done that now. I can now be picky,
Yeah.
So I can that completely.
Yeah. So now the funds that I have inside the business now is 6 months salary. So I've got 6 months to turn everything around. But I have already had that many people reach out to me saying, you can always come, always come for me. You always come work for me. You can always come work with me and all that sort of stuff. So I do. It's almost like the universe is going, it's okay. I've got you. You're surrounded by support, You're
protected, you're loved, and you're being guided the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think we all have this, but we've got to learn to open our eyes and see it. And once you see it, you can see so much more of it, and you can see the messages and the advice and the sign. I have a whole chapter in the program about signs. Signs to not do something, signs to proceed on ahead, or signs to be very, very careful, or to change direction. So, oh gosh. Look, what is left for you for 2024, and how do you feel about, from someone that started this year off with zero experience for manifestation, standing where you are today with everything you've achieved?
Well, the only thing that I have left is to manifest my dream partner. That's it. I have hit every other goal. Everything else is already done. Wow. So I mean, I think I was saying this on the last group catch up that we had. So it's almost made me feel like I have almost superpowers. That if I truly believe in the reasons why I want to manifest something into my life and show gratitude for everything, it's amazing that after that gratitude session in the course, I realized that I complained. I could always complain, but I never show gratitude. So if I had got bad service, I complain about the bad service. If I got amazing service, I wouldn't take the time to do a 5-star Google review. I wouldn't take the time to do that sort of gratitude stuff. So I realized that with everything that I was hitting, it didn't matter if I did a survey and it only got me $3.16 towards my next. I show gratitude for it, and then the next day I'd sell something on eBay for $1,500.
We appreciate. It's like I know, but not until you actually start doing it. And having that consciousness to go, oh, hang on, say gratitude, take a moment, say thank you. Even when I try and teach my kids with the parking, whenever we're going somewhere and we get a great parking spot, as I'm reverse parking into it, I say to the kids, everyone say thank you to the parking fairies for giving us this amazing parking spot. Like, how lucky are we? Like constantly, like so important, because we always get rock star parking wherever we go.
It's so good.
Because I'm often like ferrying 3 kids around in 3 different directions, and sometimes with 3 dogs in the boot, I have to drive everywhere. I can't catch public transport. So, parking in Sydney is tight and tough. But I always get a parking spot, and I always get an amazing parking spot as well.
I love that.
But I consciously, I'm like, thank you, parking fairies. Thank you, parking gods and angels. And whenever something happens that doesn't happen, that it should have happened, and I'm like, thank you so much for protecting me from this. Thank you for making this actually work out for the better. I'm so grateful for listening. I'm so grateful for this, message being here, or this wisdom that came to me. But it's weird. The moment you start doing it, it's like the sky opens up and things just get bigger and better. And that's why I think I always get a great parking spot. I don't want to go and jinx myself now, but
but it's so true, because when we were talking about different ways of money being manifested, it doesn't even necessarily have to be cash in your pocket. It could be cash saved. So if I've run out of something and I put it on my shopping list that I need to go and get it, and then I get there and it's on special, you know what I mean? Like, what are the chances of the week that I really needed something that that's the week that it's half price? So I always show gratitude for even those sorts of things as well.
It's so funny you say that, because my hair is was, I should say, wasn't quite badly damaged, just from just being in the ocean so much, and bleach and so forth. And a hairdresser was saying to me, you really, really need to go and get a treatment, like a proper in-salon treatment. I was thinking, oh God, I looked them up online, and they're these in-salon treatments were just, because you couldn't just turn up to get a treatment, you had to get like a cut and a blow dry and all these things. And it was, approaching $180. I thought, oh gosh. I was like, look, I trust the advice of this person. I know I need a treatment. I know my hair will thank me for it. Anyway, 2 days later, not even 2 days later, that afternoon, I'm in the supermarket, and Woolworths had this massive thing up, and it was this exact treatment that the hairdresser had been saying to me you should really do. It wasn't the same brand, but it was the same ingredient, and it was half price. And I was able to buy the shampoo, the conditioner, and the special sort of treatment. It was something like $12. And I was like, this is either just going to be full of nasty chemicals and, it'll only fix my hair for like a hot second. Anyway, it was brilliant. And ironically, I went to then go and get, the expensive treatment and with this new hairdresser. And they're like, you don't really need a treatment. Your hair's actually perfectly, it needs a trim because it's got split ends, but you actually don't really need a treatment at all. What are you doing here? I was like, wow. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you, universe. Because it did actually, I will admit, it did actually allow me to delay the appointment. But I was like, this is just weird. And now I'm like, I don't need to go and book in treatments. I can use, the blessing of this. It was weird. It was literally this massive stand. It was like this, there was music in the air as I looked at it. I was like, wow, oh my God, that's freaky. That's the exact ingredient that this person was just talking to me about. So
That's funny.
anyway,
You almost picture the universe going, you've worked so hard this year, here's a little treat.
yeah.
And for $12.
Exactly. Let me help you catch a break. So, like they may seem silly to people, but that's the thing is from that silly little moment, something even bigger comes from that. But because you've stopped and taken a, press pause to acknowledge that and to say thank you, that's where something even bigger is born from. So yeah, that's, and grateful people, I think, are generally happier people.
100%. Because as soon as I started, as soon as that realization came to me, I started doing, 5-star reviews and all those sorts of things. So with the real estate agent that found me this house, when I negotiated on this place, and I put the offer in for the 500, the real estate agent, because she knew how desperate, but how much I,
how enthusiastic. Like serious buyer you are. I can't say desperate.
That's right. No, that's right. That's a naughty word.
Passionate you are about finding the right home for yourself. And
that's right.
Important roots for yourself.
Exactly. Well, she had it organised for me within 48 minutes. In 48 minutes, I got the call to say that the place was mine. So I'm like, okay, Erin, it's show gratitude. What does a real estate agent need? They need word of mouth business. What's the best way for me to do word of mouth is for me to do a review. She calls me still now, every couple of weeks. Hey, how you going? How's things going? I can't wait to have wines with you on the, by the pool and all that sort of stuff. So it's incredible. Like the doors, I could have just let it go and said thank you in person, but I think when you go that extra mile to show gratitude, because gratitude isn't just saying thank you, it's a demonstration of thanks. Yeah. I think when it's with the gratitude. So yeah, it was incredible. So so one goal left for the whole year. And this is the goal that I hate doing. So I've got to unblock a lot of my own self-doubt and fears with this one, which is probably why I put it off to the last goal.
Well, I would say you put it off. I'd say that you had to clear everything else around you so that you could dedicate yourself and give this last goal of yours everything you've got without any distractions. And you can hone in on it now.
Yeah.
And enjoy this next journey and adventure in finding someone to that you want to be with, and they want to be this beautiful person.
That's it. So I've got to write more affirmations now. It's just a constant cycle of writing affirmations.
Because I have to. I am.
I'm ruining it already.
Well, Erin, look, I can't thank you enough for coming on today's episode and for sharing all your successes. I know for myself personally how much you inspired me and helped me clear my own blocks, and I've been very open and transparent with everyone in the group, about where I've hit walls and frustrations, and I know you have been instrumental in helping me work through my stuff, and we've read similar things as well. So thank you so much, not just for coming out today, but also being part of this community. And for anyone else listening to this and thinks, okay, well, I want to join in and be on this community, and I want to do the program that Ken has spoken about and learn how to set great goals and how to set the right types of goals and understand my goals, and then use my mindset to help manifest those goals into reality, so they're not just floating in your head. They're actually something that you can see, touch, feel, even taste. This is what I love talking about. Not just obviously the facts, the figures, the laws, the legislation, the taxes. Actually about using the power of your mindset and creativity and passion and drive, and just really opening yourself up to the magic and miracles that can happen around us. So I will make sure the course program is linked in the podcast notes for anyone who wants to sign up. I literally have kept it closed for the last 3 or 4 months, and I'm now ready to welcome new members into the group. So,
and remember that taking it from someone who wasn't a believer, was not a believer, my life has completely changed. Completely changed. So I know the universe sent you into my life, Kenna, because everything, my life has just, it's completely different in less than 9 months. my life has done a 180. So
Well,
I can't thank you enough.
Well, I can't thank you enough. So there's equal gratitude going on here because, from anyone who's in the program, you can actually go back and watch our recordings, our group catch-ups where I open up and talk about stuff. And you can see exactly what we're talking about and how we help each other. All right. Well, look, Erin, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for all the listeners. If you could leave a rating and review, just like Google reviews are important, rating and reviews on my podcast are equally as important, and I am exceptionally grateful for anyone who takes the time to do that. So, all right, everyone, thank you so much for listening. I will see you next Monday morning at 5 a.m. on Sugar Mama's Fireplay. Ciao for now.